Hi, I'm Patrick Nailon, and I'm here to explain to you why fraudulent voting in America is not possible. And especially it's not possible to steal an entire election. Pay attention and I'll explain to you. Let's say I want to vote fraudulently for my next door neighbor, Mike. I think he's going to vote for the purple party. I'm with the orange party. Now, maybe he actually is a member of the orange party. He just talks trash about him all the time because he doesn't like the direction it's going in currently, but he's a member and he's going to vote orange. Yeah, we'll go with that. That's strike one. You got to know who they're actually going to vote for in order to vote fraudulently. Gee, what a surprise that is. Okay, so let's assume that he actually is voting for purple party. So I get down in the morning, a little bit after the polls open, when it's not too busy and it's not too quiet, and I walk up to the person sitting at the desk and they ask me my name. Mike Nelson. Then they ask me for my address. 1223 Bayview Drive. He said to practice that because I live at 1225 and I didn't want to, mix up, but you don't need to hear this anyway. Let's go on. So they, research that name and come up, well, Mr. Nelson, we show that you've already signed in this morning and you're voting. Oh, wait, hey, you're right over there. Hey, Mike, hey, this guy says he's you? Yeah, is he, yeah, you can that's definitely strike two. That's a big strike, number two. You definitely don't want to do that when you're voting illegally. So let's say that, there's no Mike. Yeah, he's going to vote for the purple party. That's cleared. I'm going to be able to vote for him and fraudulently and bring him into the orange category. Only I go down, give him my name, give him my address. They can't find it. Why? Because Mike isn't a registered voter. You can't vote fraudulently if they're not a registered voter. So what they're going to do is they're going to ask you for your ID and something that shows where you live to prove that you're Mike Nelson and you live at 1223 Bayview Drive, and you're not going to be able to do that because you're voting fraudulently. You're going to have to make an excuse and scoot it on out of here. Number three, most definitely. Okay, so what else could we possibly be doing? Oh, well, here's another way in which fraudulent voting can go south on you. So he is voting purple. He is registered. He isn't there right now. In fact, he hasn't yet shown up to vote. I go up, I give him the name, I give him the address, only to have him look down and say, Mr. Nelson, we show that you voted by mail already. I hadn't thought of that. So they ask you, quite innocently, did you bring your vote with you? Did you want to surrender your ballot and vote right here, electronically? I don't have it. Well, why don't you go home and check and see if you have it? Maybe you already mailed it in and you forgot. No, of course not. I'm voting fraudulently, but I don't want to tell them about that, right? So yeah, that is strike number 4. See, I beat you that time. Okay, strike number 5. Let's come up with a good one this time. Well, this is very simple also, and it's very similar to what we saw a little bit earlier. Precincts are staffed by people who are very dedicated and very often do a lot of elections. I've done 4 at the very same precinct here in Minnesota. I know the people I work with, and I knew a lot of people in my precinct. A great number of them were in my condo complex. I would recognize people before they even came up to the desk to check in because they're my neighbors. So there's another reason not to try to vote fraudulently. Precincts aren't all that big, and you run the risk of people right away recognizing you for who you are, and you not even be able to give the name of the person for whom you wish to vote fraudulently. Very big strike number 5. Let's see, what else can go wrong? Oh, number 6 is a very simple one. Let's say we got through everything just fine, He was purple party, he was registered, he didn't show up, he didn't vote by mail, nobody recognized you, la 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 la, except for one thing. After you vote, he comes in later the same day and votes. Then they're going to find out that somebody signed in as him, somebody voted as him. He's going to be able to vote because he will show them his actual ID, his actual information. They will know that there is a slight discrepancy here. And by the way, let me tell you something. I'm a 13-time poll worker. 13 times in two different states, in multiple cities, and a couple, 3 different counties. I have only one time out of the thousands and thousands of people I've checked in, only once did anybody go to sign and the signature was already filled in. So let's use the name Mike Nelson because we're playing with that. Turns out it was Mike Nelson Jr. accidentally signed on the line for Mike Nelson Sr. Both Mike Nelson Sr. and his wife came in at the same time, checking in. Oh, that must be our son. Yeah, it's his first time voting. He's probably a little nervous. And that is the only time ever out of thousands and thousands of votes that I have seen a person sign the wrong line, and it was not fraudulent. And that, my friends, is number 6. Okay, number 7 is a biggie. Number 7 is a biggie. Let's say that. Now, it's getting frustrating by now. Every single thing we've tried to do to vote fraudulently has blown up in our faces. Let's say that everything, the gods are shining us, the stars in our alignment, and I get to vote as Mike, and nobody recognizes me, and I'm cool, and he doesn't come back and vote later, and he never voted by mail, so that doesn't show up like a little bit later. You can vote by mail up until a certain time. I get all happy. Man, this is great. I leave there. I'm about to go wherever I want to, and then suddenly I realize I myself never voted. Yeah, I didn't vote. I didn't vote by mail, and I can't vote today. It's the same precinct, the same people. And if I walk in again and give my same name, where they all know me as Mike Nelson, at least the key people will, I'm definitely going to get caught. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is 7 ways in which this can all go wrong, and there is no way through that you can successfully vote fraudulently in an election. All these things have to work perfectly every single time. And we're only describing one single vote here. One vote. There have to be hundreds, if not thousands, of fraudulent votes, all working perfectly exactly as these did. And every one of the targeted voters, the ones who are voting fraudulently in their name, they all have to have not voted, not shown up later, and never have a vote by mail show up at a later date. That all has to work. And if there is a recount, we heard a lot about recounts in 2020 and 21. People simply couldn't believe, and they called it, well, recounts are going to catch you no matter what. If you voted fraudulently, they're going to find you then when you've done it. So recounts are not in your favor either. So to sway an election, even a small town, my town has 4 wards, 4 precincts. Okay, so all these hundreds of ballots have to have been cast in all of these wards, all of these precincts, successfully with nobody coming back later to vote, no vote by mails, everybody registering, everybody not forgetting to vote themselves for one single city election. How many cities does it take to make a county? How many counties does it take to make a state? How many states does it take to make the United States of America? It is not possible, and I'm driving the stake in the ground. I'm Patrick Nailon, and I'm telling you, it is not possible to steal an election in the United States of America. And I hope everybody is going to vote in the upcoming elections this year. And I want you to do it because you believe in America, and I want you to do it because you believe in our system of voting. And most of all, I'd like a lot of you, all of you really, to turn out and volunteer to work a precinct. You'll find it's pretty darn amazing. People of different political parties working together, sharing the duties, keeping an eye on each other, making sure that there's representatives of both major parties, checking the votes, counting the ballots, checking the machines, making sure that everything's copacetic all day long. It's great. It's America. So get out and vote.